My name is Bassém Banna, and I look after the Middle East regions for Headspring. Headspring is a joint venture between the Financial Times and IE Business School. We created different phases in terms of how we're going to approach the situation from phase A, B, and C, and basically looking at different situation where we have the employees looking at coming back to offices where it's needed, and also we looked at different groups within the organization where we classify the employees depending on their need to be in the office, depending on their social status, in case they have dependents, in case they're with women pregnant, kids in school, and also the third group where we had people with above 65 or people who are showing some illness. So basically we looked at it from a phased approach to respond and go back to the offices gradually, and also looking at classifying our employees to make sure that we match these population to the phases. In terms of our interaction, all the meetings eventually went online. So we encourage virtual meetings and online training, even for our own employees, to take on that as much as possible. And during that, we're monitoring the government guidelines and act accordingly based on these kind of indications from governments, depending on our regional presence. So that includes the phased approach. So we have the first one where employees that they really need to be in the office. We have limited capacity of 10 people that are essentials. And then we have the phase B where, which currently to some extent in it, where we have 50% capacity and creating lots of measurement from, keeping the safe distances between positions, creating, barriers between desks, creating, reinforcing basically the hygiene measures as much as possible, and make sure that also in our classrooms there is, this space is actually maintained. We created lots of well-being sessions, including voluntary yoga and midweek kind of meditation sessions. We created even coffee breaks and social hours on a random timing during the week for people just to come and attend and talk to each other, something related to not really related to work. We created or accelerated our town hall meetings and increased the communication between the leadership team and our staff, and I think that was really effective, so we can always provide the team with the updates about how the business is going and where we are in the phases of navigating through the pandemic. We created, and that was originally there, the flexible working hours, and we emphasized on that, as well as noticing that during this virtual world, we were really bombarded by lots of meetings, internal meetings, and we had to do something to really limit and make it very much effective. So what we did, we created guidelines to how we're gonna do our internal meetings when we talk to each other during the team, and we defined 30 minutes. We defined clear agendas that should take place when we have internal meetings, so we don't overwork and burn the team's time. Well, I think this is, these times are quite unique and unprecedented for everyone, but I believe we were able to navigate really strongly out of that. As an advice, I think measuring and rewarding the results rather than focusing on the working hours and productivity is a key, because now when the working hours is not really maintained, and the productivity is not as its best, I think focusing on the results that the employees produce provide much more of an impact and give them the space for them to reach those results in the way that they see possible and fit. So I think that's mainly the top priority that I think it's important and key. The other thing, as an advice, I think, they need to take care of the well-being of their people. I think that's essential, and that's really been tested in these times. Being there for them, looking at, involving them in decision making as well. As you might notice now, organizations, they're going into really tough times, and they're updating and having new information on a daily basis. And it's very important for the leadership team to communicate that to the rest of the organization and involve them even in the decision making by creating surveys, polls, asking them what they need, share with them the idea, and ask them to provide their ideas as well on how the business is going and how they can able to navigate out of that. I think lots of empathy basically and understanding is key to success, for the organization. And if the employees feels secure to be able to attend to their family, personal duties, their motivation and engagement will eventually increase.